I got it, yeah. Joined by men's basketball, Christopher Speller, Yaak Yaak, head coach Mike Dunlap. Coach, what a roller coaster of emotions that game was. From trailing by 9 early to battling all the way back, double overtime. Talk about how big that was for the team, especially back here in Bronson after a 2-week road trip.
Yeah, grit. We've had a lot of double sessions and stuff like that, and the staff has been incredibly hard on this group, seeing their potential. So it's great to be able to go into that, and fitness-wise, to withstand that, and full credit to Metro State, too. I mean, it was one heck of a spectacle of a game.
Let's talk about the maturity. I mean, you have Christopher Speller, Tyler Red, really big leadership on this team right now, but you had so many young guys step up today. Yaak Yaak, Mason Honeyman, so many players that came up in big moments. Talk about the maturity that they've seen from the beginning to now and in big games like this.
Yeah, well, like you pointed to, being on the road for a while and then going into that San Antonio trip and pulling off 2 wins in that tournament, I think all that has been a basis for we're a tough out. We don't shoot the ball well, as everybody knows, but in spite of that fact, we play rock-solid defense, and then we pound the heck out of the boards. And so, but Chris is really a weapon on the offensive boards. He slithers in there, but he's got a nose for the ball. So, but you're right, the young guys are becoming sophomores.
Yeah, just as Coach mentioned, I mean, tonight you had your first double-double of your career. I know that's a big moment for you, but you kind of really led the offensive, or I guess not offensive, but defensive boards in the beginning of the game. Mortimer wasn't grabbing as many as he usually does, but you were really picking up the slack for him, and you finished, I think, 11 or 12. Talk about how big that was for your team, and you were just trying to always find the loose ball in the air, always apexing for it.
Yeah, it was a big emphasis early. When we began the week preparing for these guys, they're the best rebounding team in the conference right now. So it's a big emphasis. Every practice, every session, rebounding. I just went out there and wanted to do my job. It was needed for a gritty win like that. So
you might have got a few more if you didn't foul out, but it just happens in those long games.
Yeah.
Chris, Coach always talks about how great you are defensively and how much of an impact you have on the team, but tonight you had 17 points. Always find the lane and taking your looks. Was that just one of those nights where you were in the zone, always trying to look for the bucket, or just getting the right timing?
I mean, yeah, I just really wanted to win out there, and I wouldn't want to do it with any other group of guys. I mean, these young guys are just starting to step up, and I'm just happy to play with them every day, start watching their growth, and I mean, it's just fun to go out there to compete every single time.
I say the play late, second overtime, I think I've kind of lost track by now. You're kind of trapped in the paint, and then Ty comes over, and you're able to get him the ball for the layup. I mean, it's just one of those things where the court vision was pretty good right there. Just finding anybody you could.
Yeah, just kind of staying calm. Shot clock not in our hands, but I saw Ty. We made eye contact, and I just gave him a look. So he backdoored, and I just found him and just put the trust into it.
I mean, Coach, I know you talked about how you're probably not the most loved person at the Auraria campus right now, but thinking back to when you used to come here and play Mesa, and the atmosphere was like it was again tonight.
It was electric.
A little more fun being on this end of it.
Yeah, it is, and one of the things is that because of how many jobs I've had in the journey. I put wherever I'm at in a lockbox, and these guys have been phenomenal. And again, if you just look at the close games that we've had, and they've made it a real enjoyable journey, and that's character. They like each other. There's a connection, and I think that our crowd can feel that. And it was popping in there tonight, and that was great basketball. I mean, it was good to the eye for everybody. Metro State, ourselves. Unfortunately, somebody had to lose, and I'm very happy that it was Metro State.
You don't have to go over there this year, do you?
No, that's why I can say it like that.
Yeah, I mean, you got a great look at the end of regulation.
Yep.
3 seconds left, and Mason had a great
runner.
look.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
I mean, just the kids, you think, okay, overtime, the way they shoot the three, what do we have to do? But the defense obviously
Hung in
did
there.
a great job.
Yeah. And also is where probably our defense was particularly effective was up top with Chris. And also is that we're switching out on their bigs. They caught us with some smalls down there, but a pressure on the ball was enough to not give them the timing to throw it inside, because their interior passing between their two bigs is phenomenal. They're just a tough out. Both those guys are studs.
Yeah, I mean, Chris, with the way that team can shoot the three, and they hit a bunch of clutch ones. Shot clock running down, regulation running down. I mean, I know you don't want to get disheartened out there, but it's like, what do we have to do at times, and just hope they miss? I mean, they missed the one that was wide open in the corner, and it kind of gave you a little bit of a spark, it looked like.
Yeah, I mean, we just believe in our defense. We take pride in our defense and practice every single day. So just staying with it and believing that we're an elite defensive team, it helps.
Coach, I know at the beginning of the game, it kind of got off to a slow start for you guys. You were down by 9 at one point, and
Right.
controlling the ball was an issue. But how do you feel about the way that the team took care of the ball down the stretch and moved it offensively?
Yeah, I mean, we had 9 turnovers at break, at halftime. And so we ended up with 4 in the second half, plus the 2 timeouts. So that's another 10 minutes. Phenomenal. I have that right, don't we? We ended up with 13 for the game?
Right.
Yeah, and so just, again, you have to give them credit. And then we went more to a pass attack against their press. We stopped dribbling the ball, and we went to the air. And that took away some of the reaches from behind and stuff that they were doing in between three-point line and three-point line. Out of them, Chris and Mason got us under control. Both of them were very effective at penetrating, and that really helped us.
So, Chris, for you, earlier you talked about how you kind of gave Ty that look, and he knew to cut. And you guys have been playing together for a long time, but how do you see some of those relationships developing with the younger guys on your team?
Just believing with them, sticking with them throughout their whole journey. I mean, I'm seeing their growth every single day, and I'm confident in them every single time. So just believing in them really helps.
And then, Coach, for you, Chris, not the most minutes at the beginning of the year, and it seems like every game you're putting him in more. What are you seeing out of him that makes you know that he's the right guy to put in a lot of these clutch situations?
Well, he's been saving his per diem, and he's been loading up my left pocket. So that's helped a lot. But in all seriousness, it took me a while to see what his strengths were, and I'm a defensive-minded coach. And so I think it was both of us getting comfortable with each other.
Well, then also, you talk about pretty much every post game about how you lower the shooting percentages down the stretch. How did you see some of that, fall and even conditioning in season come into play today?
Well, I wish I did. But what I did see early days was guys that listened. They were very coachable. They let us coach them hard. And so those fitness practices, what I would call them, which we haven't had one lately, have we, Chris? But we ran the living whiz out of them. But now I think that we're in a state where it's really, I saw that Calvin Sampson talked about the journey of going to Kansas and West Virginia. But I would tell Coach, hey, come on over to Black Hills, 12 hours of a blizzard. But in all seriousness, we've been riding those buses for a while, and I think that it's hardened us up.
And then, Yaak, for you, this is a environment, at least at home, that you guys haven't really gotten a whole lot this year. Kind of explain how, as a young player, you were able to kind of not just tune out that crowd noise, but also let it power you when you're on defense.
Yeah, it's an awesome crowd. The community really loves this team, really supports the program. So it's awesome to play out there. We just try to go out there and give the best performance for them, for ourselves. And, Coach said it early in the week, we got to look at it as a conference game, like a conference tournament game. So, we just came out there, gave our best, and, luckily we came out on top.
That leads to my last question. This team ranked very high in the RMAC right now, and as it sits, there was a solid chance you guys would have to play them in the first round of the tournament as the season grows late. What does it mean for this kind of upset for you guys to go out and take down this team that's towards the top of the conference right now.
You're right. You're right. We looked at it as a RMAC playoff game, and them coming in because of where they're at on the ladder. And they played great all year long. And as you guys have seen, their ability to have an inside-out attack, it's as good as we've seen. They can beat you a lot of different ways.
Was it hard to hear in those overtime games? I mean, you know, all the coaches are trying to yell, and you turn around, it's like, they can't hear you. And you guys are down on defense, and the coaches are trying to tell you what to do, and it's just like, no way.
Now the bench does an amazing job yelling out, and coach does a good job yelling. Like, we got hand signals that we know whether it's we're in our zone or man. You know, so we've got it down, and then we'll talk to each other. You know, like Coach said, we have great connection on this team, so any moment we have to talk to each other, we'll talk to each other.
Final question for you, Coach. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
You guys face Regis now on Saturday. You know, they're on a 7-game winning streak. I don't know what they did tonight, but they're another hot team at the top of the conference right now. What do you guys got to do to replicate tonight's results moving to that night?
Well, one is you got to take care of the basketball, and we did that in the second half in the overtime, so that's key. And then we've got to be who we are. We rebound, so we're going to have to compete on the boards. And then finally is field goal percentage. And if you look at our free throws, we were 13 or 15. So those kind of things, be it free throw percentage or taking good shots. And I noticed that we were 5 for 7 from the three-point line. So we might not take a lot, but we're very efficient, and the right guys are shooting the three.
Well, that's everything. Thank you, Coach.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Nice job.
Thank you.